There's one subject that we're constantly talking about, whether on the podcast or in our Partners of Commercial Fishermen community, and that is safety. And here's a hard truth. Did you know 8 out of 10 fishermen lost at sea weren't wearing a PFD? It's time to change that. At Kent Safety Products, they make life-saving gear designed for real fishermen. No bulk, no hassle. Just protection that works when you need it most. They also have the most Coast Guard approved PFDs on the market. So whether you're fishing in hot or cold environments, a fisherman can find one to fit their needs. And partners, let's just pause for a moment and think about how much it would ease stress to know that your fisherman is protected each time they go to sea. It's a lovely thought, right? And as a side note, we only partner with companies that have heart, those who truly want the best for our fishing communities and have high quality products. That's why I am proud to have Kent Safety Products as a sponsor. Visit kentsafetyproducts.com and find the right PFD for you and your fishermen. That's kentsafetyproducts.com. I'm Megan Waldrop, host of the Partners of Commercial Fishermen podcast, an extension of an online community for partners to connect and feel less alone. Our podcast invites fishermen, family, friends, and supporters of the industry to learn, laugh, vent, and hear stories about this incredibly unique way of life. What do you say? Let's dive in. Hey, partners of commercial fishermen and fishermen, supporters of, family, friends, those interested in our incredible community. Welcome back to the Partners of Commercial Fishermen podcast. I'm so happy to hang with you as always, every week. It's so great. We're on all your favorite podcast platforms, whether you're driving in the car, doing errands, picking up the kids from school, cooking, exercising. I'm trying to think of all the things. I am so grateful that you choose to spend time with us. Thank you so much. You're connected to a worldwide community, and how freaking cool is that? And if you're new here, I'm Megan Waldrop. I'm your host, and like I said, thrilled to be here and to talk about things that many people don't really understand unless they lived it. And this next conversation is 100% that. And it's like a conversation that you have with somebody who might not be in a long distance relationship or have a partner who is gone for maybe a couple days or even all day. If they leave early in the morning, like at 4 in the morning, and they don't come back till nighttime, and you don't have any contact with them during the day, that's an interesting relationship to have. Like, not everybody can relate to that. So that's why I want to talk about something that it's something small, but that can make a big difference. And that's getting a heads up before your partner walks through the door. First of all, it's totally valid to want a heads up before someone enters your space. You know what I mean? I mean, we've been in our own space for a while, whether decompressing, working, or simply enjoying the quiet, and a sudden entrance can feel like less of a sweet reunion and more like a jump scare. More like, holy shiz. And not only that, it can feel like they're invading your space. And the last thing you want to do is not feel lovey and welcoming to someone that you love so much, and probably someone you've been worried about for the past however long they've been gone, about their safety. And you want to be present. You want to have that special time together. And like I said, this is especially true if you've been alone for a whole day, days, or weeks. I know this sounds familiar because it can go, it's a big jump to go from solo mode to full-on reconnection in a flash. So let's talk about how to do that gently. And today we're opening up about how to ask for what you need when your partner comes home without guilt or drama. Because setting boundaries doesn't mean you love them any less. It means you're making space for connection to happen more smoothly. As you know, safety is one of our biggest concerns as partners of commercial fishermen. So if you or someone you know has been injured while working on the fishing vessel, you don't have to navigate it alone. Do you know your rights and what happens after an injury? Would you like proactive legal education before issues arise? Need expert guidance before making decisions that could impact your case? Attorney Michael Flynn has been fighting for injured fishermen for decades. And as a side note, we only partner with sponsors who genuinely care about commercial fishing families, which is why I'm proud to introduce Michael as a sponsor of the POCF community. You can contact him today for a consultation at flynnworkus.com. That's FLYNNWIRKUS.com. And tell him that the Partners of Commercial Fishermen sent you. And on a side note, I want to shout out POCF, Hina Rogers, who is such a dear, beautiful woman. We met in person recently, and it was such a joy to connect with her. She's a POCF who has been in this community for years, since she began dating her fisherman. And now they're married a few months. Congrats, Hina. It's so beautiful. And just being with Hina really opened up my heart and reminded me why the POCF community is so special, because we can relate on all kinds of things and not have even met in person yet. It also reconfirmed how transformative it is to meet POCFs face to face and have real life connections. And I hope we all get to experience that with each other at least one day. And I'm planning something special for that for all of us in the future, so stay tuned. But the most special part of that connection with Hina and with other POCFs is being able to dive into conversations like we've known each other for years, because we share this incredibly unique lifestyle. And because we do, we can do that. We can just jump in. There's no explaining or awkward get to know you moments. It's just real connection that means getting into deep conversations off the bat. And that's what life's all about. Thank you, Hina, for taking time to meet with me and just to be a part of our community. Her DMs here and there have really, really been so supportive and have also been a lifeline to me at times. And I truly appreciated our time together, Hina. So thank you so much. And partners out there who have DM'd me and shared their experiences, I feel the same way. It really does buoy me up. I'm not trying to use all the fish puns, but it really does mean more than you know when you do reach out, because sometimes I create things and I think, is this helping anybody? Like, is anybody connecting with this? And to know that people actually do relate on some level, it really means more than you know. So thank you all so much. And one of the deep conversations I had with Hina was I was sharing with her how disruptive it can be when your partner comes home, and not just from long distance, but even with the day fisheries. And I explained how Chris would sometimes show up and completely throw me off. Like, he wouldn't give me a heads up before he came home from the lobster fishery. So Spiny Lobster Fishery in California, he has a boat in the Channel Islands Harbor, which is near Ventura, California. And we were living at the time in Ojai, California. So that's like a good 30-ish minutes from the harbor over the mountain. And so I needed at least 30 minutes to know when he was coming home. Because sometimes he'd be like, hey, what's up? I got off early, fishing or whatever. I don't know, the weather or something. And I'm like, And then I would feel, I would start to feel a little resentment and anger that he was all up in my space, which it was obviously his space too. And then I would start to feel guilty about having those feelings towards him. And then also I'm like, the house wasn't as I wanted it to be. And I didn't look as cute as I wanted to be. And so I had to talk to him, about how can we communicate in a way? Like, at the end of it, he's able to communicate with me, if he remembers, while he's coming back into port. So he would say, I'm 3 miles away, or I'm just leaving the islands. Like, he would get blips of service sometimes on his cell phone, because yes, we do have a Garmin inReach, but rarely was it used or found during the last several seasons. So we were relying on his iPhone. And so it was nice. So I'm like, oh, you're at the island, sweet. So I know that he's going to come home or come back to port. He's going to clean the boat, and then he's either going to sell to the buyer or he's going to leave them in a holding tank until the next day to sell to the buyer. So I'd always ask, are you going to sell today? He's like, no, I'm going to do it tomorrow. It's like, okay, well, that'll buy me, I don't know. If he's going to sell, sometimes the buyers take a little longer. So it could be an extra hour. So it was helpful, because then I could switch from working on my incredible POCF community and keep my vibe going with the POCF. And then I know, when can I turn this off and start making the house feel comfortable, chopping up the veggies for dinner, prepping. I always wanted the home to feel really cozy. So I'd have candles going, and I want the smells to be delicious when he walks in the door. I want him, the music playing. I wanted him to feel like home. So him giving me a heads up would give me that time to do all those things. But really, it would help me mentally shift from I'm in Megan's world into I'm about to go into Megan and Chris land, and I'm going to do that, and I can be more present instead of being like, oh my gosh, wait, you're sitting in my stuff. Wait, quit moving. Okay. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. So I know other people can relate to this. I hope so. Please let me know if you can. I love getting DMs or any emails. You can email me at support@pocfpride.com. You know, and it's called, as they say in the military, it's called reintegration. And it comes in many forms. And for this, I wanted to share a few gentle but direct ways you can talk to your fisherman about it. So here's a couple conversation starters to get you going. You can keep it light but clear. You can say, "Hey babe, would you mind texting me when you're a few minutes from home? It helps me shift out of my own head and be more present when you walk in. Sometimes when the door just bursts open, it feels a little jarring." I mean, you could say, "Could you text me when you're, however many minutes, when you're coming into the dock, whenever, whatever you need, like let them know." Because who knows, some of us live closer to the dock than others. Maybe some can actually watch their fishermen come in. Like you can see the ocean and their boat coming in, which I feel like is also probably a blessing and also maybe very stressful when the weather's really intense. Regardless, it's okay to say you want a little heads up. And the thing is, like, maybe they think they're being sweet and they love surprising you, and that's so romantic and lovely. And if you want to address that, you can also say, "Listen, it is so sweet and lovely that you want to surprise me, and it really does, and I appreciate it. However, would you mind texting me when you're a few minutes away or when you're coming into dock? It really helps me shift out of my own head and be more present when you walk in. Because sometimes when the door opens, it just feels jarring, and I want to be more present for you. I want to make the house look good. I want to look good," whatever you want to say. You could say, "Getting a text from you and knowing that you're coming home is the best surprise, and this will help me be more present. And so I can have more quality time with you when you're here." I think that's fair enough. I think that's lovely. So then you could also frame it as a teamwork thing. Just say, "I realized I need just a bit of a heads up before you come home, like a text or a call, so I can mentally transition out of whatever I'm doing. I think it'll help me show up better for you too." That's sweet. Okay, number 3. Three now. Normalize your need without blame. You could say, "This might sound small, but when the door suddenly opens without warning, when I see you pulling in without warning, it kind of makes me feel invaded, even though I know it's just you. Can we try a little 'I'm heading home' text or something like that?" And I think when it feels invaded, I mean, yes, it does feel like that. What's funny is that even when Chris was in Bristol Bay, when he'd come home and I was fully prepared, I had days in advance, and that whole reintegration process, which I've talked about before and we'll talk about again, I knew he was coming home. Like I prepped, I made food, the house was perfect. However, it still felt like an invasion because it's your own space and it's someone else's energy. It makes sense that it would be. It doesn't mean you love them any less. It just means it's normal that it's going to take a little bit of adjustment. And I know for them, it takes a little adjustment too. So I feel that whenever you have these kind of conversations, it lays it out on the table and it makes it so it doesn't have to be some huge Disney movie expectation that we might have, AKA that I've had in the past, or some rom-com that it's, going to be, he's going to sweep you up or they're going to sweep you up and you're just going to fall into their arms. And yeah, real life like that, especially when you're dating someone or married to someone who's in a job that is so freaking exhausting, and also a job where they are sleeping in tiny ass quarters with other people and possibly not showering for weeks or months at a time. I mean, it's different. It just is. Here's another one. Number 4, when you need space after intense alone time or deep work. I mean, this is what you could say after what I was just explaining. When I've been in my own zone for a while, like writing, resting, or working, I need a bit of a buffer before someone comes into my space. Can we do a quick on my way check-in so I'm not caught off guard? And number 5, you can use humor and honesty. You can say, "I love you, but I don't love a jump scare entry. Could you please give me a little heads up before coming in like a Navy SEAL? My nervous system will thank you." And it's all being, it's all about connecting with our fishermen and ourselves. And so we want to make sure that both of those spaces have time to adjust, but also we're respecting both of those spaces, respecting ourselves and respecting our fishermen. And really, because we want to show up and be the best people that we can be, not only for our partners, but to have it's our life. Our life doesn't begin and end in the off season. It doesn't start in whenever we make X amount of money or have this amount of whatever, it's our lives are happening now. And so we can start enjoying our lives at every moment. That's a constant practice. And that's the other thing. Coming back together is a practice. It's not a performance. It's not the rom-com that I thought it was going to be at one time. You don't have to nail the reunions every time. You just have to show up for them gently and with heart. And I know you got this. I hope this was helpful. And as a side note, I'm going to have text message templates available for members of our private Lighthouse community as well. And the Lighthouse has so many resources for relationships. There's new resources every month. So we have stuff for relationships like this, how to really maximize that time to yourself and wellness links and any kind of advice in that space. Amazing. We also have financial resources to stay on track as a couple and as a POCF and as a fishing business. How to best support your fishery, including letter templates to officials and contacts, even social media captions to promote wild-caught seafood and your seafood business. There's so many more resources. The list goes on and on. Not only that, you can read profiles of the other POCFs in the community, and these profiles are so beautiful. It's a private community, or else I would read them. I mean, they are so incredibly heartfelt, reading these women talk about their experiences as POCFs. Oh, I love it so much. The link will be in the show notes if you'd like to learn more. And of course, we have our private group chat, which you can pop on at any time and ask questions, touch base, get answers to anything you need that I just mentioned. It's just, there's so many good resources for us to connect as a community, because honestly, it's conversations that only POCFs understand. And it's not only a POCFs. It's like, I say it like this. If you're in a room full of women and you're related to one of them and the other one is your sister-in-law or something like that, like let's say one is your mom or one is your partner's mom and the other one is your sister-in-law, it makes it a little more difficult to be honest about your feelings and to ask questions and to get advice from other people without feeling like you need to censor yourself at all. And that's what the POCF community is. It's a community for us as individual women to come together and meet from all over the world, all different backgrounds, and we instantly relate because this is the life that we live and it's super freaking cool. We have this experience behind us. We have this experience that we can relate to, and we don't have to feel judged for it. We can have total candid conversations and not have people go, oh, what? Oh, really? Oh, well, I don't feel like that with my partner. It's like, okay, well, great. That's good for you. We're talking about what's going on in our lives. It's all good. So always would love for you to join our communities. Of course, POCFpride.com is our OG anchor home port where it all started. The POCF community started with one blog post and now is a lifestyle blog. And now we have a weekly podcast, the social media, this great newsletter. I've been really working on the newsletter because I don't want it to just be any newsletter. I want it to be something that feels more intimate, and that is what I am continually working on. And we have our private communities. It's just for us. It's a place for us to connect with each other. And that's it for today, y'all. If you like this episode, please leave a 5-star review and comment because it truly helps so much. I really love reading those reviews, and it does help us with future funding and ways that we are able to fund this community to keep it going. So thank you so much. It's such a simple way to support this community. I so appreciate you doing it. Also, you can screenshot and tag me at megan.waldrop. Put me in your stories or email me directly at support@POCFpride.com. I always love hearing from you. And with that, thank you so much for being here. And we'll be back next week with love and POCF Pride. Till next time. Thank you so much for listening. To support our community, I'd so appreciate it if you tap the subscribe button to this podcast or write a review. And if you're a POCF who wants to connect further, go to POCFpride.com for weekly vlogs and to learn about opportunities to join our private communities. We'd love to have you.